So let's try again. Happy 2020. Welcome to the first virtual write-in of the new year. My name is Mariah, and I'm the Young Writers Program Director.
I'm Tim. I'm also a Program Director here.
What if you were like, I'm Tim, and I'm Technical Support? Like, Tim, you really need to step up your game, buddy.
I just fully sat back while Mariah was trying to fix it. I don't know what's happening. Also, I'm imagining what people were seeing when we were silent for a while. There was a lot of this. You guys will just have to guess what that was all about.
Oh. Yeah. We'll never say it again. It was a one-time thing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So if this is your first virtual write-in, I'd like to say they're never like this, but they're often like this.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Because, the
perks of being a scrappy nonprofit.
Yeah. But a virtual write-in is time for us to hang out together with a bunch of writers all around the world, spend some minutes doing word prompts and sprints and really devoting ourselves to creativity. It's like cutting a little bit of time out of your busy day and devoting it just to yourself and your writing and your creative pursuits. Woo! And so we have 3 prompts and we'll do 3 sprints, and if they work for you, that's great. I know that everyone's probably at like a different stage of writing right now.
Mm-hmm.
I, for one, I've been working on the same first draft of a novel since NaNoWriMo 2018. So that's like a year and a half now. And I'm so close to the end where I'm just like, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm not revising. I'm just trying to finish that draft. What are you doing?
I haven't written since mid-November. But I do have some writing resolutions. I think we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So if you are just joining us, you can drop your name in the chat. You could drop where you're from, or you could drop just like we were sharing, like maybe what you're working on or what you'd like to work on. Or as Tim said, our first writing prompt is all about writing resolutions, because it's the new year and it's a fun time to set some goals. So for our very first prompt that we're going to write about for 5 minutes, and I'll drop it in the chat, but it's also in the description below the video. Write your 2020 creativity resolution. What are your writing goals? Why is writing important to you? What other things would you like to do to try to feed your what do I mean by that? What other things would you like to try to feed your creativity? So like maybe you'd like to write a play, or maybe you'd like to, something like that. So what are your writing goals this year? What are your creativity resolutions? And if you get stuck, just write a diary. These are honestly 5 minutes where if you haven't written since mid-November,
I could probably just start writing something.
Yeah, just like write anything for 5 minutes. Be like, I want to write this. I want to do this. Just, take those 5 minutes, like open up an old doc that you used to write in that you haven't looked at because you've been feeling nervous or whatever. Like take these 5 minutes to just slowly ease back into it, and set some writing resolutions that we can share at the end. All right, ready?
Ready.
Oh, I was like looking at my watch, but it is just a watch. It's not a timer.
Oh.
I have a phone somewhere. Oh, here it is. I'm going to set my timer for 5 minutes. During these 5 minutes, just try to think and write about your writing. So don't open up Instagram. Don't, make a to-do list of all the stuff you have to do. Just your writing goals, your creativity resolutions, anything you need to do to dip your toe back into the waters. Okay, go. I'm going to write writing resolutions. I never follow the prompt, but I'm going to follow this one. All right, you have about 2 minutes left. The last 2 sentences I wrote to myself were, "You can do it! You can do it!" Positivity. All right, 10 seconds. Oh. Okay, go ahead and finish up your last goal or last sentence. Cool. And if you would like, I saw people have already done this, but if you'd like to drop maybe one of your writing resolutions into the chat, that would be great. I loved the ones that I was already seeing there. A lot of like trying to finish things. So, well, maybe I'll share one of mine. I wrote a bunch. I was like, maybe this is enough. The one that I'll share two. I want to write. I always have the goal of writing for an hour every day, but then I'm very kind to myself. So I'll be like, you did half an hour. That's pretty good. But I really would like to try to actually do an hour without distraction. So without like, sometimes I'll write for 20 minutes and then I'm like, you can take a little break and look at Facebook. But I want to just actually sit through that moment of wanting to do something else and keep writing. I think that's better.
That's good.
And I think to myself, like, it's way more fun writing than it actually is looking at Facebook. I just have to remember that. And I want to finish this first draft. I feel like 2 years is a good enough time.
Do you feel close?
Yeah, I got to the end and I'm just like, now I'm just writing whatever scene I feel like. Because I was stalling out and I was like, just write the things that are interesting to you right now and then figure it out in the second draft.
Yeah.
What's your goal for resolution?
Mine's very similar, which is just I need to get into a regular writing practice. So I'm giving myself half an hour a day. So I'm trying to do that every morning. Well,
one thing that I wrote, another part of my resolution is I think I'm a morning writer and I have to write in the morning because I have that time carved out. And then if I don't, I'm like, well, I can't possibly write any other time.
Right.
But like, yes, I can. Just have to sit down. Like, there's no secret, you know. Yeah. I just don't. Jasmine Galloway says, my goal is to finish getting my manuscript edited and then published. And I want to finish the first draft of my new novel. That's exciting.
That's super exciting.
It's really exciting. I'm seeing a lot of like Arinthia S says, edit my novel so I can finish the darn thing.
Yeah.
Rosemary Tiger says, I had a lot of them, but my main goal is to publish my first novel this year. Woo!
Whoa, exciting.
That would be super exciting.
Joshua Daniels wrote, draft a chapbook for my poetry and then write 6 pages of poetry and or prose in Hawaiian. That's so cool.
That's really cool.
My novel that I was working on before I kind of hit a wall had a lot of like Korean sprinkled throughout it, and I wasn't sure That's the way that came out for me, so we'll see how it
That's
goes.
cool.
Yeah.
Rosemary Berry says, edit and revise my new novel and start querying it by June.
Ooh.
And that one stood out to me because they put an actual date on it, June.
Yeah.
You know? I had some goals like that too, but I didn't put a date on it. Maybe I should, but I don't know. Let's see, a couple more. Rebecca says, writing was a lifeline to me a few years ago, and now it's grown on me, and I can't stop.
Woohoo! I
love when that kind of feeling where you're like, I can't imagine what I would be if I wasn't writing. You know? It's kind of a fun feeling. Let me find one more. Oh, here's an interesting one. Silja says, one of several writing resolutions, write with others, both for feedback and because it is nice to talk to other writers. Joined a writing association for this, just have to show up. That was one of my goals too, is to have like a writing group that I can share things with. Because I've taken classes before where I pay for that, but I think that I could find other writers and just build that community. I think that's so valuable.
I know so many writers who have like writers groups like that where they share pages or whatever, and then I feel like it's like both good for getting feedback and also just for the accountability of like, oh right, I need to submit 6 pages by our next meeting.
Yeah.
I was in a writing group for a little while where we actually just wrote together. Like we met up at a coffee shop like once a week and then sat down and wrote together, which was nice because then you feel a little bit more accountable when you're like have that Facebook urge. Because then your friends are like, oh, what are you doing? You're not typing anymore.
You're like, I'm doing research on Facebook for my novel.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I also put one in, and I saw a couple people did this. Somebody mentioned something about music. I lost who that was, but or someone mentions, Carl Den said, I want to try knitting a sweater this year. I think that just general creativity stuff. I'd love to take a class, like an acting class or an improv class, because it's something that really scares me.
Yeah.
But I wonder if I could do that.
Yeah.
And just push myself a little bit out of my comfort zone. So.
I was just telling Austin the same thing. Like, I want to take a class this year, whether it's like something like makey, like a I don't know, woodworking class or like a pottery class or something like that, or like a music class or something.
I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
I feel like as writers, like we spend a lot of time like being creative, but expressing it in like language, which is not always like is a more like literal way to do it. So I feel really cool when not cool. I don't ever really feel cool.
You're so cool right now.
Well, I'm really cool right now. No, but I feel like like you get ideas when you're doing these other things, like with your hands.
Yeah.
You're trying. Cool. Okay. So that was our kind of diving back in, and I saw people were sharing some of the projects they were working on too. If you didn't get a chance to do that, definitely share that. Did you say what you were doing? I'm working on my novel from 2018. Are you not writing? Am I calling you out right now? Tim, what are you doing?
I think I said this earlier.
Oh.
Yeah, I haven't written in a minute, so that's part of the reason why my writing resolution is to get back into doing that at least half an hour. I think small like chunks of time work better for me just because I get intimidated by like the idea.
Yeah. No, it's hard.
Yeah.
And then I saw a couple of people mention that their goals are to edit and revise, which is great. Did we say this? Well, we really started off with a bang. These are the now what months at NaNoWriMo. So we didn't say that. So now it's kind of like, so I wrote a novel. Now what? The idea is that we're providing you revision and editing and publishing resources to help take your novel to the next level. Clearly, my novel's not ready for it. Like I'm right now just going to continue working on my rough draft, which I think probably some of you are too. But if you're revising and editing, you should check out our Now What page. And we'll drop a link in the chat because we've got a lot of cool resources and webcasts and a workbook, a Now What workbook. And if you're looking for a revision partner, we're going to do a NaNoWriter Match tweet chat tomorrow where people can be on Twitter and following our hashtag, and you could find someone who you wanted to maybe share work with to revise. So I'll put in the link to the NaNoWriMo Now What page into the chat. And every time, go ahead.
I was going to also say on both the WhatEP and the Nano sites, you can go in and create a new project now too if you want, and just create a new goal, or like if you're still working on your novel like Mariah is, or if you're just trying to get back into a regular writing habit like I am, like you can set a new writing goal and set your own like word count goal and set the like timeline for it or whatever. So like you could potentially, which is what I should do, I should set like a month-long goal to write, X number of words just to get through January and February.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Some people are saying that maybe you're not on Twitter. You could use this time now too if you were like connecting, if you feel like if you're a person who's always coming to these virtual write-ins, and I recognize some of you, maybe you could find someone through this virtual write-in chat and then make plans later to exchange pieces of your novel or something like that. It can be scary to share your work, but once you've taken it kind of as far as you can by yourself, it's so valuable to seek out kind of feedback in a structured way, not just like share it with your husband, like maybe I did once and say, read this, and then not actually want him to give you, like I don't want feedback from my husband. I just wanted him to say, wow, you're the greatest person in the world. This novel is the best thing I've ever read.
Did he say that?
Well, now he knows because I was specific, I was like, just tell me, just be proud of me.
Shower me with praise and adulation.
I think that's okay to be like, I did a thing and I need some validation.
Yeah.
Versus like sharing it. I'll share it with a writer, with a friend who's a writer who I trust to give me more structured feedback. Right. But I also just want, like, if my husband told me something wasn't good, I'd be like, we're getting a divorce.
Yeah. Because I also think it's a skill to like give feedback on a piece of writing, and that's something that not everybody necessarily has a lot of experience in. Yeah. And
we've got some resources on the Now What page for like kind of asking for really specific structured feedback. So not just saying like read my thing, but saying like here's some specific things that I would like. Yeah. Okay, so we are trying to write and get back into writing. So our next prompt, we're going to write for 10 minutes, and this is what it's about. New beginnings. They're fun, but also maybe scary. So write a scene or story that starts with a character or maybe yourself trying something new for the first time. So like the first time I went skydiving was, and already kind of feels like, oh, that could be a story. And this can be about a character in your novel. Like you could just pick a character and do some background, like the first time they saw a horse, the first time they ate ice cream. Or something like that. Or if you're not feeling super fictional right now, because you're like, I haven't written in a while, you could do more of a memoir thing, like pick a first memory that you have, like the first time I met my baby brother, or the first time I did flying trapeze or something like that. And you could write about that. So a first time, we're going to write for 10 minutes, which means we're going to end at 33. I'll set my timer. The only important thing is to write. If you use the prompt, great. If you don't, that's fine. Just try to keep writing for this time. Ready, set? Right. You have 4 minutes and 17 seconds. Go ahead and stop. Man, sometimes 10 minutes feels so long.
That felt pretty long.
Yeah, it did. Sometimes it feels short and sometimes it feels long.
If y'all want to share sentences that you wrote, if you took the prompt and did like a new beginning or a new start, I want to share what that was like. Let us know in the comments. Did you use that prompt?
I did actually.
Nice.
Yeah. You could also drop in a word count if you wanted. I never do that because I never write that much. And so I don't want to share. But this time, so one thing that was fun, so I've been working on this novel for so long that, and I do short stories sometimes too, but I think I make them more important than they need to be. You know, I'm like, this is a story that you're writing and it reflects you and it should be good. And then this time I was just writing like whatever random thing I thought of and just following it where it took me and not worrying about it. And it was kind of fun. I haven't done that in a long time. I like it. I said the first time she saw water, she was 10.
Oh.
That was, and I was like, what? But I'll go with it. So I went with it.
And the first time my character returned to their hometown.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's pretty good.
That's like ripe for.
It was very ripe.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fertile ground there.
Yeah. Cool. Let me see. Oh, people are still dropping things in there.
Awesome. I saw that Hannah Crenshaw wrote, "Oh no, there's a write-in happening. Now I'm being cornered into being responsible through Gil."
Let me see. I'm going to go back and share a little bit what people wrote earlier. Let's see. Okay, Rebecca says, "I honestly can't believe you convinced me to do this," he muttered. "We're going to get kidnapped." "No, we won't," Natalie replied. "Remember, I've only been kidnapped once in my whole life."
I mean, solid track record.
Yeah, I love that. I like don't know if they're going to tell the story of the first kidnapping or if that's just going to be hilarious background information, but I really like it. What else do I see? Tamar Brown wrote 172 words. FemKB wrote 161 words. That's great. King Starfish hit 450 and hit 550,000 on this project. Wow. That is a long project. Good job. Arinthia S says, "It was while he was in this state that the sun first rose." I love these little bits and pieces of other people's stories because they just make me really interested in like what else is going to happen. Let's see. Ooh. Jasmine Galloway didn't do the prompt. Me neither, but except I did this time, but I often don't. Her favorite line is, "Fancy cups. The demigod said this to the god of my story to appease him." So it's funny to me. That's funny to me too. Love it. Brilliant Wonderful wrote 564 words.
Wow.
Woohoo.
The C wrote, "I only wrote 68 words, mostly spent time thinking." I totally get in those. I have those sprints sometimes too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't always like writing with sprints because I feel pressured. I don't always like to be pressured when I write. I like to kind of like poke around a little in my head. But then sometimes when you have to write fast, different things come out. Which is cool. I like that. Cool. Before we move on to the next prompt, I was wondering if you or any of you, we set some writing resolutions, if you had any advice for how to make New Year's resolutions stick. Because I know that I've made them before and I haven't always stuck with them. So I was wondering if anybody has any tips about how to not just make them in January and then like January 15th rolls around and you're like, what? What resolution?
Have you ever had like a super successful New Year's resolution?
I think if I look at it in the long term, I had resolutions where I wanted to write and now I write every day and I write a lot more and I'm like making slow steps forward. But so maybe I guess the advice is to like not be too hard on yourself to like be successful right away at something, but let your habit build up and keep that perspective in your head. Because if I look back on where I was like 3 years ago, I write so much more now, you know, so maybe that's my advice.
Yeah.
What about you?
I don't know. A year feels like a really long time. Like, I feel like, I think this is something that like Grant had said before too, but just like about how like the monthly kind of commitments or goals like are a little bit, speaking of someone who works at National Novel Writing Month.
You're like, wait, someone should do a month-long challenge.
It just feels a little bit more like doable and then like graspable, you know? Like sometimes a year, like I'm like, oh, like I don't need to check in on this until December.
Yeah.
And then before you know it.
My husband, his name is Mark. I don't know that I've ever mentioned him in a write-in, and I've mentioned him like 5 times. But he did this thing one year where he did monthly resolutions, where he was just going to keep adding them. Like every month was a new one, and he just had to do it for the month and then keep doing it once it was a habit and do it.
Did it work well?
He ended up doing 2.
Okay.
So he did like a January one, which was to floss every day. And then he added on a February one, which was to meditate every day. And then I can't remember what his third one was going to be, but instead he never really added anymore. But the month framework really helped to like build that habit.
Keep flossing and meditating.
Yeah.
Those are both good things to do.
I know, he does them all now still. Someone had great advice. Jasmine says, New Year's resolutions stick for me when I throw them in my phone calendar. So if it pops up, like fill your water bottle and take it with you today, it keeps you drinking water. That's that's smart. Like for writing, I should just schedule that time in on my phone calendar.
Yeah.
Like this is when I'm writing, just like I have meetings at work. That's a really good point. Thank you, Jasmine. Anastasia Nicole says, I think having a time frame for accomplishing the resolution really helps. It's one thing to have a goal. If you have a deadline by which to accomplish that goal, it's easier to plan. This is how we know we're all NaNoWriMo writers. That's good advice too. Who else? Elizabeth says, definitely don't just set goals, use bullet journals to actually come up with a plan to stick with your goals. I read I know, but Sarah, who's our community, what does she do? Director of Community Engagement.
Yeah.
She does bullet journaling. I think it works for her.
I have a bunch of friends who are super into bullet journals now.
I've never gotten into it, but I think I'd like to try because it does seem like a really good framework for sticking with a goal.
Yeah.
Rosemary Tiger says, start slow and build it up. Use a reminder like on your phone to remind you, tell people, and then you will feel accountable to stick with it. That's true. So now's your chance to broadcast it to the whole NaNoWriMo community, and then we'll hold you to it. This video will be up on our YouTube channel, so we can go back in like a year and be like, Rosemary Tiger, you said that. You were going to XYZ. Peer pressure is what Danielle Laponsi says. Cool. Cool. And that advocate, it says, it doesn't just apply to writing. She says, I'm learning to swim right now, and I've given myself 16 weeks to improve my skills. I'll never be a great swimmer, but I want to get a little better at least. And actually, like, I think if you had in your head that you wanted to become like a Olympic level swimmer, it might just be frustrating.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like that with writing too. Like if I think to myself, David Sedaris has some quote where he says, like, if I was writing a thing and the whole time I was thinking this is going to be in the New Yorker, I would never be able to write anything at all. So you just I try to keep that in my head and think, I'm just writing for myself. If I'm just trying to make myself laugh or just having fun, no pressure.
I think that's like one of the sneakiest ways your inner editor disguises itself, because I find that all the time. Like I'm always like, sometimes I'm writing something and I'm like, oh God, like my mom reads this. Like,
yeah.
And so like, I think just like putting any thought of an audience outside of your head and kind of like trying to do right by the story. Cause like, yeah, I've definitely like changed some plot points and stuff just based on the questions I feel like I'll get from my friends and family if they read it.
Yeah, I mean, like, don't go into a place that you feel like you could go because you're like, well, I don't know what people would think.
Exactly.
Like, it's just for you.
Yeah.
It's early drafts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard. Sneaky inner editors.
Super sneaky.
Okay, so we have time for one more prompt, and this one is 10 minutes. And if you were really enjoying that first time scene or story that you started earlier, you could keep working on it. Like I was kind of into mine. Or if you're finished with that, or if it wasn't working for you, you could switch to a different gear and you could write a story about a New Year's resolution gone horribly awry.
Ooh.
I know. Like, I don't know even like what I would do, but I like the idea of like a goal, like a New Year's resolution taking a dark turn or like a silly turn or like a, like some strange turn. So prompt number 3, I'll drop it into the chats. Keep working on that first thing you did, or you could write a story about a New Year's resolution gone horribly awry. And it's going to end at 54. Ready, set? Oops. No. Now my phone just always wants to bring up like Apple Pay. I never want to pay for anything. Thank you. Okay. Ready, set, go. You have about 3 minutes left. It's like 10 seconds. No, 45 seconds. All right, try to stay focused for 45 seconds. Me. I'm just like letting the whole thing play. Go ahead and finish up what you're writing. And then drop in the chat. You could share how many words you wrote. You could share just like how that sprint work went for you. You could share a favorite sentence or two from what you wrote. It's hard for me to go from writing to like talking again. My brain just doesn't like to do that.
Yeah, we've got like 5 minutes left in this virtual write-in, so let us know. Share stuff if you can, and then while you guys are doing that, we should do wrap-up stuff.
Yeah, we should do wrap-up stuff.
Yeah, which is kind of what we did in the middle.
Wrap.
A wrap-up rap.
We just busted it out, and then we did the whole wrap, and then we looked down, and we had no audio during it.
Yeah.
That's all that happened.
There was a show where someone was doing a wrap up.
Oh yeah.
What was that show? Was that Parks and Rec?
We'll just Google it later.
Yeah.
Drop it in the chat if you know what we're talking about. So yeah, wrap up stuff. Should we remember? It's Now What. These are our Now What months. So you can check out our Now What page.
Mm-hmm.
I'll drop another link in the chat.
It's just NaNoWriMo.org/now-what. So it's pretty easy to find. And yeah, like Maria said, there's a revision workbook that she put together that's really, really cool. Super helpful if you aren't used to approaching revision. And so that's there and available. You can start, like we said before, you can start a new project on both the Nano and WebP sites if you want to track your goal going through January and February. And we have a tweet chat tomorrow. So if you are, the hashtag we're using is NaNoWriterMatch. So if you're looking for like a revision partner or just someone you want to swap some writing with, that's kind of what the whole goal is for that. And then got a bunch of other things coming up.
Yeah, you can find it on that Now What page. I'm looking at it now. You can see our NaNoWriMo calendar. You'll see more virtual write-ins that we're doing. You'll see that tweet chat, so you can find more details. We also put together a few graphics. So if you go to that page, you can see we've got some social media badges. If you want to declare to the world that you are revising your novel, we made, speaking of tracking goals, we made a sticker calendar that you could print out and use some, like just set some goals on it, give yourself stickers. Sadly, we didn't have any stickers, but I love sticker calendars.
Yeah.
I think
That's
it's like
sweet accountability / reward
/ stickers. You never go out of them. Like they're just always fun to put a sticker on something. Any other things? Lindsay Warner says, "Wait, what was that about a match? I missed it." So check out the Now What page, and we're doing a tweet chat, so you'll see more about that there.
Yeah.
The writer match.
Gonna be tomorrow at like 1 at noon. I think.
Yeah.
At noon.
Pacific time.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all these amazing sentences.
Yeah.
Love
Anastasia Nicole said, "Not going to share any lines because they're mainly just my characters making memes about MoMA NYC exhibitions," which is amazing. I kind of do want to see those lines.
Arinthia wrote 500-ish words this write-in, which isn't so bad considering I haven't written since November. Woohoo! That's our goal. That's like exactly, I mean, that's what we do these virtual write-ins for. It's like just getting back into that habit and doing it with friends. Let's see. I'm looking for another one. By Advocate wrote 101 words longhand. Congratulations.
Nice.
Lindsay Werner suggests that we could probably just come up with a wrap-up rap right now because we're a bunch of writers. So definitely not going to try to freestyle.
Someone drop a beat.
And we're still getting a couple questions about like things that we've mentioned. I'll drop in the link to our Now What page again. You should be able to find all of the stuff we're talking about on that page and on that calendar. So just check it out. And if you have questions still, I guess you can email us, or you could also put it as a comment on this YouTube video because we check the comments. So that's another good place to do it.
Yeah.
Cool. It's been great to write with you all.
Yeah, thanks for coming for our very first virtual write-in of 2020.
2020. Thanks for sticking with us throughout our technical difficulties.
New decade, new you, new me. Excited to be a totally different person.
Beginning of every year.
Yeah.
Cut to 1 year later. Tim is the same person. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
End stream.